Hey guys, welcome back to another video in the Python series. In this video I'll be showing you how to do basic math in Python. Alright guys, so I'm sure you know how to do basic stuff in Python now. I'm sure you learned how to add and subtract and multiply and stuff, but I'm going to show you how to do all of the basic math operations using the different math operators they provide, and also some of the nuances of math, like with division and floor division and order of operations and all that fun stuff. So it should hopefully be a shorter episode, but it should help you understand how to do some cool math stuff in Python. Alright, so let's go through the basics. First we'll do 2 plus 2. So the way this will work, Python will evaluate this math here and then put the result of that value into the print function, and then the print function will run with the value of 4. Alright, same with any of the other math operations we do. So 2 minus 2, that's 0, print, and then we can do multiplication. That's done with the asterisk, however you say that word. So the little star here, so 2 times 2, and then print for division, it's going to be 2 divided by 2, like with the slash, that's the forward slash, I believe. And then now we have the more advanced one, so print, we can do exponents now, so 2 to the power of 2, so 2 squared, that would be what, 2 asterisks, or however the fuck you say them, 2 star thingies. So to do an exponent, you just do 2 star thingies. For other programming language, it would be this one here, but for Python, it is 2 of these, okay? And of course, you can change it to be, if you want to do cubed, 3, if you want to do 4, 4, and so on. You can do whatever you want. That's just an example of how to do it squared. Now we have what's called modulus, so 2, and then percent sign, and then 2. So this is called modulus or modulo. Essentially, it's the way of finding the remainder of a division in programming languages. And finding the remainder is actually surprisingly useful. So for example, if you want to see if a number is even or odd, then if a number is, let's say we do 2 modulus 2, that would return 0 because there's no remainder for 2 divided by 2, right? So then you know it's even. So if you do 4, so that's 4 divided by 2, find the remainder. There is no remainder for that, so then you know it's even. And then if that changes to like 3, so 3 divided by 2 has a remainder of 1. So that's how you know it's odd, because it's not 0. All right, just something we'll see in the future. So just know that it's pretty useful actually. And then print, this one's called floor. So 2 and then 2 slashes and then 2. This is called a floor, so floor division. Floor division. So this essentially will give you, it'll do a regular division, except it'll chop off any decimals along the way. So if we go ahead and run this now, we'll see what everything equals. So 4, 0, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 2 to the power of 2 is 4, 2 modulus 2, or 2 divided by 2, the remainder of that is 0, and then finally 2 divided by 2, but chop off the decimal points, 1. There we go. So again, this one is called modulus, or a remainder, and this one is exponents or exponent, and then everything else is pretty self-explanatory: division, multiplication, adding and subtracting. All right, so these are the basic math operators you can use in Python. These things here are called operators, and these are operands, just like they're referred to in math. These are operands, the thing you're actually doing the math upon, and then the thing actually signifying the operation you're doing is the operator. Now there's a nuance to division I want to teach you about. So division, so every time you divide a number, let's say we do 5 divided by 2, of course that'll return 2.5. So if we print this out, we'll get 2.5. But if we were to do a different thing, so 4 divided by 2, of course 4 divided by 2 is just 2. But even though the result of this is a whole number, it'll still give you a decimal place. So we'll print this out and we still get 2.0. So this means that every time you do the division operator, so you're doing division with the division operator, it's always going to give you a float. So it just has a decimal in it, okay? So no matter what, just even if you have whole numbers, even if the result is a whole number, you will always get a decimal, a floating point number, okay? But if we were to do floor division, the other operator we learned about, similar to division, if you do print 5 / 2, that would be the floor of 5 divided by 2, which means that you're chopping off the decimal points. So the result of that should just be 2. So let's run this. Let's get rid of these. Let's run this now, and we should just get 2. There we go. So that's one way you could get a whole number every time that you do division, just by doing floor division. So for example, if I was to do print 4 / 2, and then run this, I would get 2 again, because 4 divided by 2 is 2. If I was to use the normal division operator, that would be 2.0, but since we're doing floor division, it's going to chop off the decimal and anything after it, okay? So you're flooring it. That's what flooring is. Another thing is that whenever you're doing a math operation and one of the operands, at least one of the operands is a float, then the result will always be a float, okay? So let's say that we want to do print 2 plus 2 and then print 2 plus 2.0. In this case, these are both integers, and then this one's an integer and this one's a float, right? Because it has a decimal. So the result of this one will be 4 and this one will be 4.0. All right, run this and boom, that's correct. So like I said, if at least one of the operands or the thing actually involved in the calculation is a float, then the result of the calculation will be a float, all right? So if we go back to floor division real quick, if we do print 5 divided by, or / 2, so to floor that, and then we do print 5.0 / 2, this one will just be 2 because it's truncating or chopping off the decimal point, but this one will be 2.0 because it's still chopping off everything after the decimal point, but since the operand here is a float, the result has to be a float itself, okay? So run this and we get 5, or we get 2, and then we get 2.0. So at the end of the day, it's still chopping off everything after the decimal point, but again, because one of the operands is a float, it's going to result in a float. And to be clear, it doesn't have to be one of them only, it can be more than one. So at least one is how you get it to be a float. So if these were both floats, it would still return a float because at least one of them is a float, all right? All right, so the next thing is something you're probably familiar with, order of operations. If you're not familiar with order of operations, this is like this is something you'd probably learn in middle school, so also known as PEMDAS. This is an acronym standing for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So essentially what this means is that when you have some math that you need to execute and it has multiple operations within it, like adding, subtracting, multiplying all in one thing, this will dictate which operations are executed first or calculated first, okay? So multiplication and division come before addition and subtraction. So for example, if I have 2 times 2 plus 3, this dictates that 2 times 2, because multiplication has a higher precedence than addition or subtraction, this will be executed before 2 plus 3 does, okay? So the way this works is essentially it'll come here to say, okay, I need to execute 2 times 2 first, so this result will be 4, and then plus 3 is still there, so this is now the new operation that needs to be done, so that the final result will be 7, all right? Okay, so really just not too complicated. You probably already know this if you know basic math. But really the most important thing is that parentheses has a higher precedence than everything else. So if something is surrounded in parentheses, it will always be executed over something else, okay? So if we were to surround this with parentheses, now this one will be executed first and calculated first, and then it'll be 2 times 5, because 2 plus 3 is 5, so 2 times 5, which is 10, all right? There we go. So let's run this, and we should get 10. There we go. So here I've got some more examples. So print 3 plus 2 times 2. This is the one we pretty much already did, except reversed. So the result of this will be 7, because 2 times 2 will be have a higher precedence, so that'll be 4. And then 4 plus 3 is 7, not 10. And I'm saying 10 because if you didn't know order of operations, you may think it would be 3 plus 2, which is 5 times 2, which is 10, and that would be the answer. But no, of course, multiplication comes first. In this case, we are doing, again, the same thing pretty much. We're putting parentheses around 3 plus 2, so then it would be 5 times 2, which is 10. Down here, we have a more complex piece of math that needs to be done with multiple operations within it. So we can see that in the middle, we have 2 times 2, which is multiplication. That comes before these additions here, so that would be 2 times 2, 4. And then it would be 3 plus 4 plus 1. In this case, it doesn't matter which way you go now, so it would probably just go left to right. So 7, and then plus 1 is 8, all right? I made an error in this bottom one here, so I just changed it just now. So anyway, this one has a parentheses around the 2 and the 1, so this will be executed before the multiplication does. So it would be 2 plus 1, which is 3, so that will become 3 plus 2 times 3. So then multiplication becomes over addition, so that would be 6, so that would be 3 plus 6, which is 9. So if you print this out, we get 9 at the bottom. Great, perfect. So if you're a little rusty on order of operations or you'd never learned it, just play around with this, see what cool combinations you can come up with, and just remember it, and just try to learn it. And also there's plenty of online tutorials for order of operations that you could look up, okay? And even though I've been printing out all of these math operations for this episode, like 2 plus 2 and print it out right away, you of course are not required to use math only in the print function. You can use math wherever a number is allowed. So let's say that we want to store in a variable, we can. So if we do awesome variable, we can put a number in that, right? So this means that we can also do some math because math equals a number, right? It evaluates to a number, so we can do 2 plus 2. So if you can probably guess, this means that awesome variable will now have the value of awesome 4 within it, right? Because 2 plus 2 is 4. There we go. So 4 and then 4. So I'll get rid of this one. We don't need that. So if we were to do like 3 plus 2 times 2, this would play into order of operations. So that'll be 4 plus 3. So the value within awesome variable should be 7. So any place we use awesome variable, we're also using the value of 7. There we go. We get 7. Awesome. So I just had to explain that because, you know, in these basic episodes in the Python series so far, pretty much everything we do is just printing out stuff. But when we get more and more advanced, we're going to see that most of what we do is not printing out. Printing out is just a way to see what our variables are holding, what data we are working with, okay? And other stuff, of course, but that's like a big part of it. All right, so one more thing I want to teach you about are like there's little shortcuts you can do, shortcuts for math operations. So let's say that you have a variable, so counter is equal to 0, and you want to add on to that by 1. In different programming languages, you could do counter plus plus, but Python does not support that. So you can also do something very similar, which is counter plus equals 1. Okay, so this looks very, very weird. It's a very weird way of doing things, but this is the equivalent of doing counter is equal to counter plus 1. Okay, or counter, not count. There we go. So essentially it's the exact same thing behind the scenes, except that this one's more, it's a shorthand, right? It's an easier and a quicker way of writing this, because this is kind of repetitive, right? If you just write counter is equal to counter plus 1, counter is equal to counter plus 10, you can do either one, you can do whatever number you want, but this one's just more short and concise, and you can choose to do that if you want to. So counter is equal to 0, and then counter plus equals 1, so this will be counter is equal to counter plus 1, so if we print it out, guess what the value is going to be? It's not going to be 0, it's going to be 1. All right, so print that out. There we go, we get 1. And then if we're going to go down by 1, you can either do counter plus equals negative 1, because that would be the same thing as subtracting by 1, or you can do counter minus equals 1. This time you're not adding by a negative number, you're just subtracting by a positive number, which is the exact same thing, okay? So if we print this out, we should get 0 again, because this one we changed it by 1, this one we're going back by 1, so it should go back to 0. There we go, perfect. And like I said before, these can be any number, so this can be like 3, or like how about we do 3 and then 36, so this will add it by 3, and then this one will subtract it by 36, so the result should be negative 33. There we go, so 3 and then negative 33, awesome. And you can also do it for other operations, so let's say that you want to, let's say you want to multiply by a certain number, so you can do counter is equal to counter times 12, or you can do counter is equal to asterisk equal 12. So that's the same exact thing. So if we print out counter, we should actually get 0, because 0 times 12 is 0, and then 0 times 12 is 0, but there we go. But let's change this to 1, so then we should get 12, and then we should get 24, because 12 times 12 is 144, I think. Yeah, there we go. So 12 and then 144. Awesome. And then you have division, of course. So we can do that. So 1 divided by 12 should be a float, of course, right? So that'll be whatever that is. So 0.083333333333. So the reason it keeps going is just because it's really precise, of course. And then when you divide it by 12 again, you get even more preciseness. So it's a really even smaller number. But there you go. That's how you can do shortcuts for adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing if you want to. And that's pretty much it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Now you know how to do basic math using Python, the nuances of basic math. Like when you divide, you always get a float. When one of the operands is a floating point number, then the results will be a floating point number. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Also order of operations, of course, and then the shortcuts that I just showed you. So hopefully this was informative. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for next episode where I'm going to show you something really cool, which is called lists. Alright, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. In the description below, I'll leave a link to the code for this episode so you can check it out. You can bookmark it, come back to it later. If you forget any concepts or you just want to review the concepts I taught in this video, I'll mark everything up with comments so you can come back and read the code without having to rewatch the video. Although your reviews are greatly appreciated. So yeah, I'll leave a link for that in the description below, so make sure to check it out. And another thing is I'll leave a link to our Discord server. It's a big community for programmers, so you can ask for help on your programming projects if you're stuck on something, or maybe you can get some new friends. If you don't have any friends, there's lots of people here. It's growing really fast. You can find lots of people who are passionate about the same things as you. For example, if you like Minecraft Spigot development, you can find lots of people who like that. If you like C++, if you like Java, if you like web development, it's a really, really big programming community. So feel free to join. There's a link for that in the description below. And the last thing I want to tell you is that if you want to support this channel, you can click the join button below this video and you can join this channel as a member for as low as 99 cents a month, and you can cancel at any time. You get some cool perks like early access to all of my new videos, a cool rank on my Discord server like you see right here on the side, YouTube members, and also you get to see yourself on the screen like you see right now. So if that sounds cool to you, feel free to join. If you don't want to, that's fine. If you can't, that's okay too. I really just appreciate you watching the video anyway. And thank you. Thanks a lot. And that's it. So if you like this video, leave a like. If you want to see more, subscribe. And peace.